Okay, Southern Pacific Transportation Company spins book, zones 60 through 71, says SP Mainline from Bryn Mawr to but not including Niland. This is dated for 11/30/81. And then down here what the definition of spins is. The original is well used. So we're going with a photocopy because, like I said, it's well used and you'll see. Here's a page I usually don't show, but it talks about what spins is, but it basically tells Southern Pacific crews where to put train cars so the train cars can be loaded and unloaded. And then the example down there tells you, so on the sheet that the conductor has, he'll have all these numbers, and that tells them where to put the cars. And then we get to look at a more basic version of this when we look at the spin numbers. So, like I said, this is a well-used document. There's a lot of scratches and eliminations and adds in here. This here shows the spotting. So, if it's a boxcar, you put it next to a dock, and it'll say that in that code section. Auto ramp, interchange, the different numbers on their paperwork, and the ones that apply to us for reading these are if it's a team track or crane spotting, dock spotting, etc. I don't know how often spins books were issued. Maybe someone out there knows and they can tell me, because this one is from 1981 and there's corrections on this. Looks like the notes were made in 1989. Okay, so we start out with our first track says Redlands set-out track, Ordway set-out track, and El Casco set-out track. Capacity is that's the length of the track. And then on, if it's a business where the dash line is, it would tell you how many train cars would fit on that track. So, you look at the first map and you'll see what well used looks like. I folded it in half so it makes it easier to read. So, move my tripod back a little bit. When this was used, they've scratched out the switch here, the set-out track, and the lead going for Redlands. Now, the Redlands book I have is from 1981 and existed in 1981. So I don't know what year it left and got all scratched out according to this. Then we come across here, and you've got Redlands crossovers were added. So he added a line there showing there's crossovers in Redlands. They weren't there when this book was first written. Come down here, there's an X at Ordway, showing that the Ordway set-out track is gone. And an X here showing spiked that the Redlands set-out track is gone. Come over here, El Casco still exists back then. And then we're continuing on, and it shows where San Mateo Canyon Road crosses the tracks. Come down here, San Mateo Canyon, and now we've got noted, okay, we have crossovers here, and that's where the Hinda crossovers are. And then coming into Beaumont, we have an artist. They drew a building. It's somebody's office. The X, I'm guessing, is that track no longer exists, and that does. They drew a line down here, gave a number, other notes, and where the X's are, I'm guessing those are crossovers added. So this book is from 81. It got updated along the line somewhere. Continuing on, we show Cabazon passing track, Southern Pacific, Cabazon team track, set-out track, and more. Then we come up here, and this one's a little off, but the numbers were from the last one. So here you have a lot of scratching done again, saying, okay, those tracks are gone, those tracks are gone, this is what you get, and this is your number. So you can tell this was a live, well-used document compared to some of the other ones I have that don't have a blemish and the pages stick together because it never got used. We have Cabazon, and shows that's okay. And then Fingal, never heard of Fingal, never heard of Mons before. But there are places on the railroad. This is where 111 comes off of the 10. Then coming into Palm Springs, we have more tracks, Garnet, South Track, Salvia Passing Track. And then this gets interesting too, because our owner of this book went through and drew in something here, cross that out, remove south siding, that's noted, removed, doesn't say what date, but that came off too. And Garnet is where the Palm Springs Amtrak station now is. So there you are. Little diamonds here show what the milepost number are. And then you got city streets in here too for better knowing where you are. Then we have passing track, team track, passing track. Excuse me, I have a cold. Will not go away. Okay, so we have more passing tracks. Thousand Palms passing track, and it looks like there's a set-out track there. Myoma. And then this is coming into the Indio yard. We got Gate City Beverage Company. Look for beer boxcars there. If it says spike, that means it was out of service, and eventually, if no one ever moved into that property, they pulled the rails up. Excuse me. And I said we were coming into Indio. Well, here's Indio. Here it tells you what all the tracks are, how long the tracks were, where the tracks were at, what the track numbers are, what they are called, and then how long they are. Indio yard tracks. Okay. Come to the other side here. Industries served in Indio. Sambo storage track. I thought that was for Sambo's restaurants. Be interesting to look up one day. Spiked vacant, spiked storage track, spiked. Home furniture, mainline tracks. Okay. Again, being that this was a living document, maybe someone can tell me when this happened. But shows spiked, and then Duke Wilson lead, and then spiked. And then here shows this is spiked, so then that was out of service. I've never seen tracks coming across Indio Boulevard, so I've been out there a lot recently, last 30 years. So it shows these tracks, shows this one was written in and given a number. And then Indio Station, and then all the different lead tracks going into the yard. And then we have the yard. Shows that one's out of service, that one's spiked, that one's crossed off, and these numbers down here are crossed off. The Greyhound station is right there. And it shows these are all crossed out. Isn't that fun? And continuing with Indio, shows these main tracks, or these sidings or yard switches, or whatever you want to call them, all crossed out. These are spiked and crossed out. Then there was a dock here, and a ramp was added here, and that one was okay. And these are all spiked out. and place out of service. And then continuing in the Indio yard, this would be on the south, or this would be east of the last one, because east is going in that direction. And that's showing everything. And this is Dillon Road there. They wrote in Dillon Road. I don't know what the X means. Maybe the X placed that out of service. Not sure. Like I said, this was a living document. We have a lot of industry served. California Automated Carrots Incorporated. Do they dance, or is it just the name of the company? Sunworld Marketing and Packaging. And here's an example of track is 363 feet long, holds 6 cars. Code is 99, and if we go back to the beginning, without disrupting myself too much, code 99 means, I can't find it. Nope, not there. Not there. We'll never know what code 99 means. I was going to try and be smart, and my editing skills suck. 99 is open area where it's not possible to put up signs. So, for 99, the crew would hopefully know where to put the train cars, or maybe someone come out in a tractor or a forklift and say, put them there. Continuing industries served. Ice deck storage. Ice decks are long gone, but the tracks are still there. Sun Date Company. A lot of dates down in Coachella. Go to Hadley's and get yourself a date shake. Okay. Here's another one. This one here shows 11/7/89. That's out of service. It says actually out of service and the date. And then there's some more. And if there's a X through it, I'm guessing those tracks are gone. Spiked. This is now served by Cardinal. This one's out of service. See? Well-used document. So it's the books from 81, and this was still being used in 89. So maybe they came out with these every 10 years? Any former Southern Pacific employee out there can tell me? I'd like to know. Got me curious now with this one. Okay, industry served. More industry served. Cattle Valley Farms. Their tracks are spiked. They probably went away. This one down here, vacant, spiked. A lot of slots. We're moving on. Someone had a heck of a time here. It's okay, this is Sunworld up here. Those are spiked out of service. That track's gone. New company name there. Out of service. Put in a track here. So that's thermal. Down the line a little bit more, we have more of thermal. Tracks taken out of service. This one says there's a new derail there. Out of service. These tracks down here out of service because of the line through them. Continuing east. Here's our industry served from Mecca. Mecca is an area of the Coachella Valley. It also has some important in the religious world for people. Mecca's in the Middle East someplace. So here we have BVC, maybe that was a company name, moved in there, spiked, out of service, out of service. more out of service. And next page. Try to make sure I'm doing this in the right order. Mortmar I've never heard of before, but it's on the map, and there's tracks. And none of these seem to be out of service, so that customer base was strong still. And then here's one. Let's see who remembers this name. Ferrum passing siding, Ferrum yard, Ferrum legs, pigtails, Ferrum stub track. For those who are going, why does it sound familiar? Eagle Mountain Railroad. This is where Eagle Mountain Railroad ended at the Southern Pacific to transfer the ore and transfer supplies back up to the mine. A couple of the tracks have been eliminated out there. But in 1981, this is how it looked. This shows X's through everything. Mainline here. On Google Map, you can still see the Y in the tail. And then that goes up to the mine. Those tracks are intact on this date, but I hear they're going away. But there you are. There's Ferrum as it was back in 1981. And our next list we have Bertum, Frink, and Worcester set out tracks. Frink's another railroad name I never heard of before, but hey. So here's Bertram, which shows that in 1981 until 1989, those tracks were all still intact. All was good. And this comes down to Niland. So these tracks are all still intact in 81 through 89, and then shows Niland and then going to Calexico. I did an Imperial Valley video, which broke down Niland, and it took care of Calexico and Mexicali and everything else down there. Even a section of the old San Diego and Arizona Eastern. So there you are. That's this book. So this is Bryn Mawr, or basically Redlands east to Niland.